Good evening, everyone. It is Wednesday, January 3rd, 2024. Happy New Year, everyone. Hopefully, everyone had a great Christmas and a New Year's out there. And as well advertised, we've got many systems coming into the area starting in the next few days, and then a monster possibly next week that's going to dump some snow somewhere in the region. We'll go over that, and then I'm going to give you a little preview what we've been talking about over the supporter hub for quite some time, and giving you some details about every week or so on here of the brutal cold that is coming mid-month. And I'm talking models are starting to really catch on now, and it some of the models are super brutal. So plus, I think we're gonna get some major snowpack just north of the area here into possibly Kansas, Missouri, maybe even to northern Arkansas and north of there. And then when that cold air comes flooding down, there's going to be no stopping it. There'll be no stopping it at all. So let's get into my map here. Let me get rid of this. Get rid of this overlay real quick so you can see it better. There we go. All right, so we're going to have a low pressure basically develop out here towards the Gulf Coast, ride the Gulf Coast, then go kind of east, northeast, and then head up towards basically New York, just off the coast here. They're going to have a lot of snow up that way. Basically, storm's really wrapping up here tomorrow across New Mexico, southern Colorado. Lots of snow out there, 6 to 12 inches at the higher elevations out that way. Once you get towards panhandles of Texas and Oklahoma, parts of Kansas, There is winter weather advisories already out. I'm thinking 1 to 3 out that way, maybe a little bit more than that. And then as you get over to this dark blue, kind of wraps around over towards Wichita, goes towards northeastern Oklahoma. Then we get into the higher terrain of the Ozarks in northwestern Arkansas. We got 1,000, 1,500 to 2,000 feet, 2,500 feet over there, close to Mount Magazine as well. I think there could be an inch or more in those higher elevations of northwest Arkansas and possibly even the Ouachitas down here in west central Arkansas as well and far southwestern Missouri. Now, a little bit more of a question just outside of that into the blue here in northern Arkansas and through southern Missouri. I think on the onset you will see snow. Okay. Now, how fast it warms up will be a question mark on if you get snow accumulations or not. So right now I'm thinking southern Missouri, north central Arkansas, maybe a dusting, and if you're lucky, you may get a half an inch to an inch. We'll see. But I think the big winner is going to be possibly in this dark blue. I'm not assigning any snow accumulation map yet. I'm going to wait on the guidance tonight into tomorrow morning because models have been trending colder and colder a little bit as we've been going through the day today. HRRR has been really showing that the short range model has been really showing that. I'm going to show you that here in just a second. But like I said, higher terrain of northwest Arkansas, I think it's going to be the winners here. So I think an inch, maybe more than that, up in the higher elevation, especially above 1,000, 1,500 feet. We're talking probably Fayetteville up towards Harrison and Jasper, especially around Jasper. They're pretty high elevations there too. All right. So then we go east here, go through St. Louis, Indianapolis, over towards Ohio. I think it's going to be more of a snow on the backside of this. There could be some accumulations and still a little question mark on that, especially across northern Kentucky here. But as I'm getting really concerned about the Carolinas, as there could be a potential ice storm brewing out towards the Carolinas here. So something to really need to pay attention on out here because some models are showing some significant ice accumulations across parts of northern South Carolina, parts of North Carolina up towards Virginia, as well as we have cold air damming just east of the Appalachians here. That cold air is going to be hard to get. That low level cold air is going to be hard to move out of this area as this low is coming up. And there could be an ice storm down through here. So that's one area I highlighted in our winter forecast about the winter battleground areas. So here's one area that's going to get hit probably this weekend. So like I said, starts out west here tomorrow, Thursday night into Friday. We're talking Oklahoma into Arkansas, Missouri. Friday night through Saturday out east. And we're talking probably some major accumulations up here, probably 6 to 12 inches possible across parts of Pennsylvania up towards New York. New York City may get in on that as well. It's kind of borderline there at the moment, but we'll have to wait and see. So let's take a look at some models now. So I'll show you what's ongoing. I'm going to show you the current hazards map as well. All right, let's go to the current hazards map here. So we're looking at some winter storm watches out here towards California. That's with that next powerful storm system that's coming in Saturday into Sunday. Winter storm warnings out here as well. Here's that system coming east. That's going to deliver some winter weather across the area, parts of the area here, especially up towards the mid-Atlantic, up to the northeastern parts of the United States. Winter storm warnings out towards New Mexico here. Like I said, there's higher elevations up there, 6 to 12 possibly plus inches out that way. We also have winter weather advisors out here towards Texas Panhandle, Oklahoma Panhandle, up through Kansas, far southern parts of Nebraska, southwestern parts of Nebraska, for some snow accumulations. Like I said, 1 to 2, possibly 3 inches of snow is out likely out there. If trends hold, we're going to start seeing some of these winter weather advisories start spreading east. We'll just pay attention on the weather in the next few days. I'll keep you updated as well, and I'll have another live tomorrow evening as well. But here's the latest hazards. No winter storm watches or anything out east yet. They're still analyzing data out there. They're still a few days away, but we'll take a look at models and show you what I'm really concerned about out here towards the Mid Atlantic. Alrighty, let's take a look at the latest models here. This is going to be a pretty long video, so I'm going to go over pretty much all the details. So if you don't want to basically sit on here the whole time going live, I mean, you can, but this will be available after we go live. It'll be available on our Facebook page, and it'll be on YouTube as well. Right, so here is the latest model here. This is the Canadian. Okay, this is 12Z Canadian. 00Z hasn't came out yet. So here comes the system coming across New Mexico. Here, parts of Texas into Panhandles, of Oklahoma, Kansas. This spreads a pretty decent snow swath across northern parts of Oklahoma. That's something we got to keep an eye on across that area. Then we get into parts of Arkansas. Really starts ramping up here. Higher elevations, I think, are going to be the winners in Arkansas. Here, you may see a couple of snowflakes mixed with some rain across a Little Rock area, metro area there, but west central Arkansas and the higher terrain as well. You'll be seeing some snow, I think, there as well. And then that kind of gets out of here. Then this low pressure, like I said, it's going to develop down here in the Gulf of Mexico, just southeast of Houston, and start moving up the coast here, then start moving northeast. And this is what I'm getting really concerned about across the Carolinas into Virginia with that cold air damming. It's hard to get that cold air out of here, especially when it's banked up against Appalachians here. Notorious of doing that. So some major ice accumulations could be possible. So I'm going to show you a few models here on what we're going to maybe expect out that way. On the back side of this, on Saturday morning, could be some sleet pellets, maybe a few snowflakes mixed in here and there over to Oklahoma, parts of Missouri, into parts of Arkansas as well. So it's going to be snowing possibly up here towards southern Indiana into parts of Kentucky as well. So then this thing really ramps up and gets going and starts heading off the coast of the Mid Atlantic. They're heading up towards New England. And then, like I said, New York City is on the borderline here of getting some pretty major snows across that area. And we kind of stay in a colder pattern here. And here comes the next storm system. This is Monday. Okay, Monday, 9 o'clock. Like I said, timing could be off here and there. This thing is just starting to develop. Heavy snow across parts of Oklahoma into Kansas. Cold air just rushing down into Mexico even. There's going to be snow all the way down into the higher terrain of Mexico with this. And then it gives basically, this is one of the cooler of the models temperature-wise. GFS has been all over the place with the track. So I'm showing you this one first. This shows basically sleet into snow across southern Missouri, northern Arkansas, northwest Arkansas, snow back into Texas, into Oklahoma, parts of Kansas. I think somebody is going to get absolutely hammered with this system. We just have to nail down where the track is going to be, but I need to give you guys a heads up on this because there's going to be some major travel problems somewhere in the area. And more than likely, it's going to probably be on the backside of the system, in through possibly northern Arkansas, in through Missouri, Oklahoma, Kansas, possibly up into Iowa, Illinois, getting up towards Chicago maybe as we head towards Tuesday. This thing is actually coming a little bit further east than what we've been looking at, and I think this is a pretty good track. This is basically notorious of this kind of track here out of southeastern parts of Texas and basically riding up the Mississippi River here just east of the mountains here in Arkansas. That's a notorious track, and we'll bring some pretty decent snows across. If this plays out, this is not a forecast. I'm just showing you the possibilities here of some major snows. And this is going to be cranking. I'm telling you, there's going to be a lot of wind with this as well. This is a very deep low pressure, 977 millibar low, and you can tell it rapidly intensifies. It goes from 994 down here on Monday at 9 o'clock, January 8th, and then rapidly gets to 979 in about 12 hours time here across northeastern parts of Arkansas. Now, if this starts tracking a little bit further south and east, really wraps in the cold, you could be getting snow a little bit further south than this. But this thing's going to basically occlude out and kind of move, meander around and move northeast. Vertically stacked low here. We have upper level low stacking right on top of the surface low here, and then getting out of here. And I think that cold air damming is going to happen again over here in the Carolinas. This is not depicting it all that well, but it will show up as we get closer. So it's something to keep in mind. This thing's really going to ramp up, get out of here, and then here comes more cold air as we head towards next weekend, or Friday the 12th, Saturday the 13th, and then here comes another storm system after that. There is a lot of cold going to be dumping down into the United States, and I'm going to show you one of the models here, which I don't really like to show too much because GFS is kind of crazy, but I'm going to show you why it's trying to pull down all the cold in the west, which I think is going to be a little bit further east and kind of slide down east of the Rockies here as usual. Just slide straight down, and it's going to be a brutal period. And we've been highlighting that for quite some time in the supporter hub and giving you guys hints here and there every week of possibly 30 to 50 below average. That's still on the table because we're going to be gearing up all this snowpack up here towards the northern half of the United States. And let me show you that real quick. This is let me tell you something. This is not a forecast. This is projected snowfall for the next 10 days. This is just one model, of course. But look at this snowpack that's going to be built. And once that cold air comes down out of Canada, there's going to be no stopping it, and it's going to blast down the Gulf Coast. There is a model out there that blasts cold air all the way down through the Gulf, even into parts of Cuba. That's how strong this cold air is going to be dumping in from the Arctic by mid-month. All righty. So let's take a look at another model here. All right, I forgot to show you some ice accumulations on the Canadian here. So look at this. I mean, this is showing once you get a quarter to half inch, you start having power problems across the area. So this is showing some half inch to 3/4 of an inch or a little bit higher than that across parts of North Carolina into parts of Virginia, far northern parts of South Carolina here. So this is something that has to be watched over the next couple of days, because if this comes true, you're going to have some power outage issues across this area, across North Carolina into parts of Virginia, where that notorious cold air damming comes. We have that northeasterly northern fetch flow that comes banks up against these mountains here, and that low level cold air just kind of sits there, and it's hard to move once these storm systems come up. And that looks like that's what's going to happen across this area. Okay. Alrighty, let's go to the GFS real quick. I'm going to show you the storm systems here, and then I'm going to show you the northern hemisphere pattern. What we've been looking at here, we've been basically the supporters have been knowing exactly what I'm talking about here, but I'm kind of giving you a preview of what's going to happen down the road here, so you guys can start preparing because of this major cold that could be coming towards mid-month. Okay. So here's this storm system coming through. This is the latest 18Z GFS. The new one is not out yet. It starts initializing around 10 o'clock, so Central Time. So here is the system here. See, See what I'm talking about? This we got to watch northern Oklahoma into parts of northern or southern Kansas and the higher terrain of Arkansas. It's going to be the winners here, possibly. And then this GFS has the freezing rain. North Carolina, parts of South Carolina, northern South Carolina into Virginia, and then this thing gets out of here and really ramps up, hammers New York City. This one, GFS hammers New York City with a lot of snow. And then here comes the monster coming across Kansas in through Texas here, parts of Missouri, and this low pressure is basically right over Memphis early Tuesday morning. There's going to be a lot of stuff going on with this. There's going to be severe weather. I'm going to show you that here in just a second. What this Storm Prediction Center has been showing along the Gulf Coast. We've been talking about that over the Supporter Hub for about a week or so now about the possible severe weather coming with this. But like I said, somebody is going to get absolutely thumped with a bunch of snow with this, and this is going to be a lot of wind with this as well. There's going to be blizzard-like conditions with this, if not just a full-fledged blizzard somewhere, because of all the wind that's going to be generated with this strong storm system that's coming through the region here, with snow possibly all the way back in west central Arkansas into parts of Oklahoma, western Oklahoma, as we get into Tuesday afternoon. Like I said, all depends on track. This thing comes further south and east. Northern half of Arkansas, back through parts of Texas, even Oklahoma could get absolutely hammered with snow. So we have a lot of time to watch this. But I wanted to show you guys this so you guys can start preparing, because there's going to be a lot of travel issues with this, and plus severe weather likely across the Gulf Coast. And then, like I said, there's going to be that cold air damming again across New England here, not New England, sorry, mid Atlantic into the Carolinas here. I think this doesn't depict it very well, but it's there. I think it's going to be a little bit more widespread than this as we get towards Tuesday and Wednesday next week. When that gets out of here, you see how much Arctic air is just lingering up here towards the northern tier of the United States into Canada, just waiting in the wings to dump down. And the storm systems just keep on coming. So here comes another one down through. This is Sunday, January 13th, and well, this is the 14th. So Saturday, the 13th, the 14th, another large storm system. I just don't see how this is actually going to move straight north and include out. But like I said, this is one of the models that's dumping all the cold air in the west, which I think is going to be a little bit further east. But this has got snow all the way down towards Tucson, Arizona, even because of how cold this air is going to be. You've got 46 thicknesses in parts of Wyoming into Montana. Widespread snow, another round of freezing rain across North Carolina into South Carolina, Virginia. I'm telling you, if you live in the mid-Atlantic and the Carolinas, I would probably think about stocking up on some non-perishable foods. Maybe get that pantry and stock back up, because you're going to have, looks like to me, you're going to have multiple rounds of freezing rain possibly over the next 2 weeks. So if you live towards that way, you might want to think about maybe like I said, getting your supplies just kind of stocked up before there's kind of a rush to the stores on some of that stuff. Now, once we get towards 15th and beyond, look at this. This would be absolutely brutally cold across most of the United States. Look at this high pressure. I believe that says 1063 high. That is unbelievable for this time of year. 1058 still up here in Canada, just keeps plowing down cold air. And I saw a post a couple days ago about how the Great Lakes are going to affect the snowfall, and it's going to, not really do much. Well, guess what? The lake effect snow machine is going to be blasting mid to late month, and I would they're going to start probably freezing over very soon. I know they're running about 5 to 10 degrees above normal for this time of year, but with all this cold coming over the top, there's going to be huge snowfall totals. Feet upon feet of snow is coming across the Great Lakes as well. All right, so then this thing kind of just meanders around. There's a lot of cold air, and then it reloads, and it's going to come back south. Let me show you some of these anomalies, which is absolutely unbelievable. So this is what I was talking about. So this is at when we get towards the 15th. See how it's dumping all this cold air towards the west. This is something that I just don't really buy because of all the mountainous regions down here. Usually, the depth of the cold air usually slides down the eastern parts of the Rockies here, and then straight south. Now it looks like it's going to possibly do that, but it's kind of lingering out here. So I don't exactly believe this. I think it's going to come straight south, which it kind of shows after the 15th. And look at how far south this thing gets. I mean, it's getting all the way down into parts of Cuba with 10 to 15 below average. This would be an absolute monster cold front that comes in and killing freezes across Florida. The citrus out down there need to be aware of that. The citrus growers and stuff need to be aware of what could be coming down that way. But this is going to be a very dangerous cold. Like I said, we're going to have a lot of snowpack that's going to be built, and once this cold starts coming down, Polar Express, there's going to be no stopping this train that's going to be coming down out of the Arctic. And I'm going to show you the pattern we're looking at on what's driving this towards mid-month. And speaking of snowpack, this is just like I said, this is just one model run. This is not my prediction or anything, but there's going to be significant snowpack, I do believe, up in this way. So don't really nail in on the details like, oh my gosh, Nebraska, they're gonna have 60 inches of snow in the next 2 weeks. It's not what I'm saying. So I'm saying there's gonna be a lot of snow that piles up across this area. And once that cold comes down, there's gonna be no stopping it across most of the country. And then that active southern jet, which I've been telling you guys about over and over and over again since the winter outlook came out. We're gonna have an active southern jet with multiple cold coming down. We're like migrating El Nino to a Madokai El Nino, which is centered into the mid Pacific, which basically drives down colder air from the Arctic, plus have that southern jet stream in. And if this company, there's going to be a lot of snow possible across most of the United States, and we're going to get some chances down through the South as well with this. Like I said, this is just a long range at the moment. This is part of the puzzle we're looking at here um, for you all. All right, here is supporters know this all too well. I show them basically the northern hemisphere, what is going on across the northern hemisphere. So this is just one of the pieces of the puzzles we look at to figure out what's going to happen. Okay. And we give the supporters a pretty good, decent amount of time on what to expect. All right. So we expected a full, basically, the back half of winter was going to be a loaded winter with very cold conditions and snowy, wintry weather possibly. So what you're looking at here, basically, you have a little bit of a high pressure up here toward north of Canada here. It's kind of drawing down a little bit of cold air, but then kind of shunning it out off east here because we have a trough as well, just southwest of Alaska. Then we have here's that system that's going to be coming through this Friday. Sorry. Then we have this little system that's coming through today. And then as we go throughout time here, here's that system coming in Friday and Saturday, kind of digging a trough down through the central parts of the United States. Then that gets out of here, and then here comes this next bits and huge trough of low pressure that's coming in, really going to wrap up. All right. So, one thing to pay attention on, see this high pressure over here just east of Greenland. Okay. Here's Greenland here, just east of Greenland. You need to take a watch on that because that's going to be retrograding back towards the west over Greenland. That's one key, what you need. Okay. Another thing, we need high pressure basically over Alaska, and then that between this blocking high in Greenland and this high over here in Alaska, cross polar flow, it's just going to dump Arctic air straight into the pattern into the United States. And that's why we've been telling you, especially our supporters over there, that some brutally cold air is going to be coming mid to by mid month and continuing on to late month as well. And it doesn't look like it's going to stop there. It looks like it's going to go through all the way through mid February with below normal temperatures as well. So it's going to be multiple chances of winter weather coming forward. Like I said, as we get towards the 10th here, look at this big high pressure up in Alaska. This high pressure is trying to retrograde back into parts of Greenland. And here comes the cold air starting to dump into the pattern here. And then it really establishes itself as we get towards 13th, 14th, and 15th of January here. This would be just absolutely brutal air to flood in pattern. It's this unbelievable air that would come down. So all right, so that's basically what we have going on across the northern hemisphere. What's coming? How cold? How cold are we talking? Well, let's take a look at that real quick. All right, here is just like I said, one model. All right, so like I said, that western, it's basically centered in the cold over the western United States. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to be a little bit further east, slide straight down the Rockies here, east side of the Rockies, down the Front Range. I think it could be a lot colder than this, especially with all the snowpack up here. I don't think the model is actually accounting for that too well. But there's going to be no stopping this. So that's why I'm saying I think 25 to 50 below average is still possible across parts of the area. This is showing 20 to 30 to possibly 40 below average across most of the central parts of the United States and over towards the East Coast as well. If this actually happened, you're going to be below freezing all the way to the Gulf Coast. And then brutally cold below average highs. Probably, like I said, 20, 25 below average. And then you're going to be way below freezing all the way to the Gulf Coast. So this is your time. This is basically your heads up that cold is coming. We just got to figure out exactly where the cold core is coming down through. And I do believe it's going to be centered a little bit further east, slide down the Rockies, and straight into Texas, and then flood east as well. So there's just a little glimpse of what could happen. And then let's go back to what's going to happen for the next few days here. All right, so here's the graphic I made earlier today. Let me get this overlay off here. Okay, so like I said, accumulations likely all the way through parts of Texas, Oklahoma, parts of southern Kansas into northeastern Oklahoma, higher elevations of Arkansas, especially above 1,000, 1,500 feet. Ouachita's down here, light blues in southern Missouri into northern central Arkansas. A little bit more questionable on accumulations, but you could get up to maybe nothing. You could get a dusting. You could get a half an inch. Just depends on the elevations. There's a lot of hills and valleys throughout the Ozarks. So if you're down in the valley, you may get some rain snow mix. If you're up on the hill, you may get some accumulation. Okay, so that's basically how that goes. Go east here towards the Carolinas. This is very concerning. It could be a possible ice storm across northern South Carolina into North Carolina, Virginia. So, like I showed you too, there could be multiple opportunities for freezing rain over the next 10 days, 10 to 14 days across this same area. It's cold air damming, basically. This northeast flow banks up against these mountains here. That low level cold air just kind of sits and it doesn't move out very quickly. And then that just spells trouble across this area. All right. All right, y'all. You have a good evening. I will have some snowfall totals for you tomorrow, and then I'll probably go live again tomorrow night. And really need to pay attention to what's going to happen across the Carolinas. That's number one focus. Number two is this next big system that's coming next week, which I did not show you the severe weather. Let me show you that real quick. All right, let's go back over here and get this. Okay, here we go. Hopefully, y'all can see this okay. So, this is for Monday into Tuesday along the Gulf Coast. There's already a slight risk out basically across the Gulf Coast, Florida down through southern Alabama, southern Mississippi, southern Louisiana, southeastern parts of Texas. Okay, we're talking about Houston, New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Mobile, Alabama. Those are just a few of the towns that we need to look at. Said this is the day 6 outlook, so there's some time to refine this. But there's your heads up that there's going to be some severe weather that comes with this. There's going to be a huge storm system, a lot going on with it, heavy rain, thunderstorms, severe weather, possibly a blizzard on the northwest side of this thing. So huge storm system coming in, plus a lot of cold going to be dumping into the pattern as we get towards the middle of the month. That's basically what we've been showing on the supporter hub. If you want to become a supporter, now's the time to do it. It's $4.99 a month. A lot of good information over there. Basically, you get videos like this over there and even more in depth as we go forward. So lots going on over the supporter hub. You are first warned over there. First dibs on seasonal content. You get long range content. Lots of basically we go in a lot more detail of what the pattern is, what we look at, all the pieces of the puzzle that we try to put together to bring you probably one of the best forecasts that we could possibly get for you with Snowbird Bob here. Okay. All right. Stay safe, everyone. Like I said, very active weather pattern coming across most of the United States and in through the southern plains and in through the Carolinas. Have a good evening, everyone. We will talk again tomorrow evening.